Well, hi again, everybody. As we wrap up the football version of Coach's Corner for John Tyler for 2013, we're about 5 weeks ahead of what we had hoped to be. We'd hoped to be doing this final show in December. The Lions, of course, in the playoffs once again, and a first-round by-district playoff game this past Saturday at Citibank Stadium in Forney against Legacy High School from Mansfield. Legacy won that football game 35-14. So the Lions finish up their season at 7-4. And again, playoffs are very much a part of the JT schedule and will be again next year. But for this 2013 season, it came to an end this past week. Coach Ricklan, Holmes is with us. And again, I know these are tough shows to do. I know this is very difficult to do today, but just talk a little bit about, first of all, what happened on Saturday and what turned out to be a game where you were moving the ball and you were forcing turnovers, but just couldn't make anything happen, could you?
Yeah, just one of them games where the team just came and we just didn't play John Tyler football. We came out there and I think we just thought that the game was going to go the way that we wanted it to go without us actually playing the game, and we got lost in all that, and team just didn't play to our expectations and do what we need to do to win that game. We put ourselves in position several times during that game to make sure that we took care of our business to get to come out with that victory, but we just didn't capitalize on the turnovers that we created and the special teams that we had happen during the course of that game that helped us also.
Rick, you played, at high school, college, and the pro level. You played in high school on a team that won a state championship, and then teams that got close but didn't quite get to their goal. What are the emotions like?
Oh, it's tough. Anytime you get to the playoff and you know that, you got to win this game to move on to the next week, and you don't take care of that, you reflect back to, the beginning of the season where you worked so hard to improve throughout that 10-week stretch, and now you're at the 11th week and you just can't quite put everything together.
People don't, and I think people lose sight of the fact that how much work goes in to getting even as far as you did this year. Not only from 2 a day starting in August, but the 7-day weeks that your coaches put in, the weightlifting, the early mornings, the late nights. Just talk about, the hours that have been spent over these last few months prepping for to go as far as you can in this postseason.
Oh, it's joyous hours. It's deals that we enjoy doing what we're doing, and we don't look at it as though we're putting in long hours. We're just putting in the work that needs to be done, the necessary preparation that needs to be taken care of to win football games, to get these young men prepared to be successful on the football field. And the things that we're doing is not only for football, but it's for life. We're trying to teach them structure. We're trying to build their character. And in the same front, we're trying to also tie all that in together to make football players that win football games. And during that long process, it is a process, and the process will continue all the way until 2014.
We'll talk about offseason coming up here in just a moment, but getting back to the game, they jumped out to a 14-0 lead. We'll look at some video coming up here in a moment, but tell me a little bit about what went down in the first half, because you kind of got into a hole early in the ball game, didn't you?
Defense, it was one of our deals where we came into the game, we knew our defense was going to have to play tough against this running attack that Legacy is so great at. And for the most part, I think we did that the first half, and we created some great stops, and we put our offense in position to put some points on the board, but we just didn't capitalize on the turnovers and the great opportunity and the field position that we had to make sure that we stayed in that game that first half.
The first half, the offense just not able to get in sync. What happened?
Not getting in sync. A couple of drop balls that really hurt. That killed some drives that we had going. Just little stuff like that.
Second half, though, the offense, especially in the third quarter, you kind of came alive, didn't you?
Yeah, but it was kind of a little bit too little, too late type of scenario. We had put ourselves behind the 8-ball so deep that once you get into a deal like that where now you're starting to have success with a team that runs the ball and eats away the clock the way that they do, you got to make sure that you capitalize early on the success that you do have, whether it's a stop, whether it's a turnover that you create, or whether it's a special teams play that puts you in great position.
They had over 400 yards rushing. Would you call them kind of a throwback team, a team that, with everybody throwing as much as they are now, this team is out to pound you?
No, I wouldn't call them a throwback. I just call them a football team. Football is played in the air and is played on the ground.
Yeah.
It just does so happen that the majority of the teams that we go against play with the ball in the air, and it's just football. Everybody wants to say Win was a factor. Anybody wants to say that, you know, we wasn't used to playing teams like that, but when it all boils down to it, everybody has to play football.
Who played well Saturday for you?
On the defensive side of the ball, you got to say Braylon Jones. You know, once again, the sophomore has had another great game, and he done a lot of good things that we needed done on that side of the ball. Linebacker play wasn't very bad. I think that, you know, Andrew Clark and Malik Hubbard and Jalen Reese, I think they done an outstanding job at the linebacker position last Saturday. Along with our defensive end, probably just Xavier Reese. He probably had the best game out of the defensive ends. And in the secondary, Terry, you know, he played big, and Jordan Caldwell came up with an interception during that game. And another player that emerged in the secondary, and he showed what we've always seen in him, and that's Bryson Gibson. He had some great tackles during that game, and he made some big plays on the defense side of the ball. And then on offense, you know, you got to give it up for, you know, Dyron McDuff to step in, him and Jeremy Wilson to step in and take the place of Reggie Gibson, making sure that we're able to do what we need to do with the ball on the ground. And Gio, you know, he still made some mistakes that day, but for the most part, he done everything that we needed him to do for us to be successful.
Reggie Gibson just never could quite get healthy down the stretch, could he?
No, he was still probably at that 85-90% range,
Right.
And you know it's just too risky for a young man that has a bright future the way that he has, getting ready to go into college atmosphere. And if we would have won and moved on to the next round, then, you know, now you have to make the decision about that next week. But just going into week one, I just really didn't feel comfortable with putting him out there.
What message would you like to say to your seniors? Because I know a lot of the parents' kids watch this show. What message would you like to say to those guys?
I like to, you know, tell them, you know, they did a great job keeping the tradition alive, making sure that we put ourselves in a position to play for a district championship. Make sure we put ourselves in a position to play for a state championship, you know, making it to the playoffs. And I think that everything that they did during the course of this year helped us do and pretty much get close to accomplishing all the goals that we set for ourselves. So I just tell them, you know, hey, stay strong, make sure you keep your grades up the last semester of this year, and let's make sure we get them into school.
Yeah, get them in school somewhere. What about some of the seniors? Let's single out some of the guys that you know, jump out at you that were seniors, played their last game for the Lions on Saturday.
Well, one that jumps out to me, he played his last game the week before, and that was Greg Johnson. Great kid, does a lot of good things for our secondary when he was playing, and you know, he messed up his knee and he didn't get to play in the last game, in the playoff game. So now he's starting his surgery process and going through his rehab, and we're gonna get him ready to go off to school and, you know, make an impact at whatever college or university he goes to. And then Terry, you got to talk about him. You know, he's probably one of the most
safety,
you know, accoladed guys we have on the defense side of the ball. Then you go with a senior corner that came back to us from basketball, and that's Jordan Caldwell. He's another outstanding senior on that defensive side of the ball, along with Darius Amy that plays the defensive end. Then you have Malik Hubbard and Andrew Clark that play linebacker, and Trey Moore that plays on the defensive front. You know, those guys right there done a great job for us this year, making sure that, you know, we was able to stop the run and stop the pass all at the same time. And then on the offense side of the ball, you talk about Reggie Gibson. You know, I hated that he didn't get to play his last 2 games of his senior year, but, you know, hey, he's going to be back full strength, and he's going to go somewhere, and he's going to be an impact player, just like the kids that left last year for the 2013 class. You know, his future is very bright, and I'm glad to see the progression that he's having coming back off of the injury that he occurred over the season. And then you have to go and look at, you know, your wide receiver. A guy who got to play big in the last game was Andre Crawford. He's a guy that got to play sporadically during the season, but was a starter this week because of the injury with Reggie and moving around some guys and shuffling position. So he had to replace Wilson, which Wilson went to the backfield. So those guys right there, along with a guy who started out early playing a lot for us and then ended up making a big impact for us on special teams, is Bryson Crawford also. You know, those kids right there, they're doing a great job, you know, helping us out in every aspect of the game, whether it's offense, defense, and special teams. And the lone senior lineman, Tavarius Wilson, you know, He was the only guy that was on that line that was a senior that's been there all 4 years, and he's worked his way through the ranks to get out there and help us on the varsity level this year. And I was very proud of him on how he took hold of those reins, and he made sure those younger guys understood that, hey, it takes a lot of hard work to get here. I had to wait 3 years to get here, and some of them guys are sophomores and juniors playing now, so they understand the importance of it, and they feed off of what he had going on at that particular time and getting things done.
Now, Rodney Bendy, senior too.
No, Rodney Bendy's junior.
Junior, okay, all right, okay, good, all right. Yeah. So your wide receivers are all coming back next year?
Yeah, all the wide receivers are coming back.
Okay.
Yeah, you have Kane coming back, you have Wilson coming back, you have Bendy coming back, you have Gross coming back.
Okay, you like that?
I like that.
I like it, all right. So do I. Let's take a look at some of the video of the game on Saturday at Forney Citibank Stadium, a nice facility, one that JT, I'm sure, will go back to again in a playoff run somewhere down the line. And again, the opponent, Legacy High School from Mansfield, they got the ball here and you're on defense.
Yeah, it's just a great stop, letting us know what we need to do to, keep this team off the field. We had to come up with some big stops. We had to come up with a strong front with that front seven, and making sure that we gang tackled this big running back that's been getting a lot of attention. That's well deserved.
Nice play here. Who made that initial hit?
That was Bryson Gibson, the sophomore safety. He played a lot more physical this game than he had all year long. So, I think he's starting to come into his own. He's starting to understand the position that he's playing, and he's embracing it.
Again, they had a heck of a running game coming in. What's the kid's name? Kijana Amos, is that his name?
Yes, that was a big
running
tailback.
Yeah.
And then the quarterback, he done a great job too, with the ball in his hand.
Terrence Ivory, I believe is his name.
Yes.
Again, you're the home team, and I understand had a big crowd, big JT crowd. They had a good group.
Our fans travel well and come support us and watch us and root us on to victory. Best way they know how to.
Stacking them up again.
Yeah. Like I said, defensively, man, I think we played a pretty good game, and helping us be in that position where we could win a football game.
By the way, the punting, I think Luis Duran had heck of
Oh, most definitely. Just like on this punt right here, I mean, we pinned them right on the 1 inch yard line.
Now, are your kickers seniors?
The only kicker that's a senior is Jose Perez.
Okay, so
Luis Duran will be back next year.
Will he do both jobs then next year?
He will do both jobs next year.
All right. Because you were able to you had two really good kickers this year, didn't you?
Yes, had two really good kickers. And I have another kicker that's going to be coming up. He just has to get acclimated to what we do.
That's often overlooked at JT. Got a great kicking tradition.
Yeah,
had some good ones come through.
We had a lot of good ones.
All right, here you are back on defense.
Once again, making some great plays. That was Darius Amy coming off the edge and getting that very versatile quarterback wrapped up and brung to the ground. And, this is after the punt that we put in the air, and we put him back, pin him back deep. This is a great field position for us right now and bad field position for them. We come up with a big stop here and we make them punt, and it still keeps us in great field position for the offense to where now we got to convert and make some plays happen.
They wound up running the ball, 66 times?
Yes, their ground attack is what they do, and they're not going to deviate from it, especially with the success that they do have.
Yeah. I think we'll see a kick return here, are we not?
Yes. They try to do a sweep kick. Their kicking game isn't very good, and what they try to do, they just try to keep the ball on the ground as long as possible and try to make it roll. And Terry Osborne did a great job picking up this squib kick and getting some positive yards out of it.
See it again from a wider angle.
So if you're looking at the offensive standpoint, you're starting out on the 45-yard line, moving the ball in the other direction. We need to capitalize on that, and we didn't move the ball and put a score on the board after that. Great pass play right here to Nick Kane.
Who is a junior.
Who was a junior. And, people say, throwing it to the wind. Right now, we're going against the wind, but we're still able to put the ball out there and make some great plays. So, you can throw into the wind just as well as you can throw against the wind.
How windy was it out there?
You know, it was anywhere between 25 and 30 miles per hour. You know, and like I said, that wind was going north and south.
There you go.
Just
You
like
can see it right there.
Yeah. You putting into the wind, and it comes right back into your face.
Yeah, because Duran's a good enough kicker. That's not going to happen unless he's battling something.
But then on right here, you know, Duran got hit. And so we was able to get the ball back into the offensive hand with a first down on a roughing the kicker. So, you know, there we go. We created another, you know, a bad play on their part, but now we got to capitalize on it.
And that's where the breakdown came.
Yeah.
Right?
You know, we created a lot of plays for ourselves, whether it was us, something that we did, or whether it was something that they did wrong, and we just needed to capitalize on it.
Now, who caught this ball?
I believe this was Andre Crawford on that.
Andre Crawford, okay. Yeah. Here's Gio.
Taking out, getting positive yards, and then once he gets that yards, you know, get out of bounds. No sense in trying to duck your head and get another 2 or 3 yards where, you know, you could easily get injured or something like that. So, great pass play right here. It was to Andre Crawford.
There's a pretty good chance Gio's going to be okay for he's done at John
Oh yeah,
Tyler,
he's going to be a pretty good quarterback.
Going to be pretty
good. This right here was a run by Dyron McDuff. Like I said, he's a shifty little running back. He came in there and took hold of the reins.
Now he's got a year left, doesn't he?
He's a senior.
He's a senior.
Also,
okay,
yes,
right. I couldn't remember whether Dyron, but he kind of came on this year.
He came on this year, and he came on late, but he came on. This is an interception right here by Jordan Caldwell. You know, they're great at running the ball. They're not very good at passing the ball. And, you know, when you do put them in a position to make sure they pass the ball, we got to, you know, create turnovers like this. Mm-hmm. You know, we create a turnover, we get the ball back in our offensive hand. You know, this is another time that, you know, we've put the ball in the hands of the offense in good field position or a great situation. And once again, you got to capitalize on it. This is a run right here, shovel pass by Jeremy Wilson. Tough run, gets us to the other 45. Now we're working in that territory again. The screen pass play right here, Nick Kane, where he runs tough and keeps his feet moving.
Nick has got that it factor.
Yeah, he
it's
does.
Hard to.
He is.
You just know it when you see it, right?
Yeah, he's what you can consider a playmaker, a guy that, you know, when you put the ball in his hand, you know some good things are going to happen eventually. Even if it doesn't happen, that particular play is going to happen eventually.
Now Nick and of course Isaac Warren is also a junior and played a lot this year. Again, 35-14 was the final score. Just put this season in perspective, if you will, how things went down. It's kind of an up and down year.
I'm not gonna say it was up and down. I think it was more uphill than anything because, you know, we started out young and we knew that coming into the season, but the steady progression that this team has had from the first game all the way to the 11th.
I'd say really up because I mean I was the wrong thing to say because you start out Lufkin game had all those fumbles, bad snaps, and that was a tough night.
Tough night, but you know, like I said, you know, with the steady progression that this team has had from game 1 all the way to game 11, you can mostly say that, you know, the success of this team came from progression. And you know, with the young talent that we do have, you just carry that over into the next season. And like I told them Saturday after the game, we'll come back stronger and better than we were this year.
You beat 2 5A teams. You beat Horn, and you beat.
No, we lost.
Lost to Horn. Beat Robert E. Lee.
Beat Robert E. Lee, and we beat Lancaster.
Lancaster.
So we only 2 losses that we had coming.
We're 2 5A teams.
2 5A teams.
But beat Lee, beat Lancaster, a team that went to the state finals last year. as you look back, some of the big moments of the season, pick out a few that just jumped out at you that really stood out.
You know, the way we played against Lee, a great team that's on the rise, that's doing a lot of successful things in their program right now. You know, they started out very hot, you know, coming into the game against us.
You cooled them off, though.
Yeah, coming into the game against us. And, you know, playing well like we did against Nacogdoches and White House. You know, showing the state of Texas that, you know, John Tyler's going to always be John Tyler, and we're just going to come out there to play football.
You know, I made a topic on my talk show here about a week ago about you going for 2, had a lot of fun with it. I mean, we weren't criticizing you, we were just saying, what would you do? Yeah. Asking the fans, what would you do if you were in that situation? And just about everybody voted that they thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
You're down 1 with a minute to go at White House, and you went for 2.
Yeah.
And you didn't make the 2-point conversion, didn't get the, but anyway, you didn't win the football game. But the fact that you went for 2, looking back on it, does that just kind of symbolize, in your opinion, what you think John Tyler's, you're always going to try to go for it?
Yeah, we're always about winning. We're not about anything else. We're out there to go out there to win and win a football game the way that we know how to win, which is playing John Tyler football.
Which is attacking, right?
Attacking. You can't be you can't have your back against the wall and feel like you got to come out swinging all the time. You got to be the aggressor. And I tell my guys all the time, football players are aggressive, knowledgeable, and disciplined. And that's what John Tyler football is all about.
Yeah, and aggression means, you know, you don't want to get so over the top that you're not thinking at the same time. There's a way to do that, right?
That's why I say that's why you throw in the discipline part, because it has to be controllable.
Right. And that was part of I guess, was that part of what happened Saturday? I mean, when you put yourself behind the 8 ball like that, then you're reacting too much, and that's not the kind of game that you really want to play, is it?
I think it came down more to just being disciplined and doing what we knew how to do and doing it well. All of our assignments didn't get carried out the way that they need to get carried out, especially on the offensive side of the ball. And, you know, when you create plays for yourself against great teams like we played against Legacy, you got to be able to capitalize on whether it's special teams, offense, or defense. And just for the most part, we just didn't do that.
You just wrapped up your sophomore year as a head football coach. How did Ricklan Holmes grow this year as a coach, in your opinion?
You know, I done a reflection, and I went back and I looked at all the things I done my first year, and I looked up at all the things I did this year, and I was very pleased with the consistent effort that I've been giving these kids and my coaching staff for the first 2 years. You know, as a second-year coach, I end my season with a 20-6 record. You know, and I look back and when I first got back in 2007, from 2007 to 2013, we have a 62 and 40, I think it's 62 and 40 something record. And out of that, you know, it was 5 years with Rush, and then the last 2 years with me. And you know, I think I started out pretty well for my first 2 years with a 20-6 record, and we're going to build on that. And my goal to myself and my team, and to make sure that we continue our success is, you know, I already have it wrote on a wall in my office to be 36-6 at the end of 2014 season.
All right, and that would include, if you're 36-6, that means you got that big trophy somewhere.
Most definitely, most definitely. And you got to come out. You got to come out this next season. I told the kids, you got to come out and you got to take no prisoners. You got to make sure you take care of your business every game, every second, whether it's practice or it's the game.
So what happens now? I mean, the season ended way earlier than you'd hoped. Went with you into December last year, went all the way to the state semifinals, a week short of the championship game. So now, how does the off season go for you?
Well, you just adjust it. You know, you move everything back to where you started. You know, after the Christmas break, you move it up before the Christmas break, which would be right for us, be after the Thanksgiving break. We'll go into what we call our line making stage, and that's where we're going to work on our kids' character, and we're going to make sure that they're motivated enough to take care of their business during this hard off season that we're about to go through.
How do you do that?
Well, you treat it almost like a boot camp. And, you know, I got a guy on my staff that used to be a highway patrolman. So,
Who's that?
His name is Quentin Jones. He's my special team coordinator and running back coach. And we're going to put together a plan. We actually already started putting together that plan to make sure that, you know, we have our kids going in the right direction, and their mind frame is going to be totally different than it was in 2013.
By the way, you had a freshman team that was really good this year, didn't you?
Yes, most definitely. And those guys are going to be, it's going to be some guys that's on there that's going to be an addition to this 2014 team. We just have to filter out and see which one of those guys it's going to be.
All right, so you got some players coming up that were ninth graders who you're promising are going to be on the varsity with you next year.
Most
sophomore,
definitely. It's going
right?
to be some. It's going to be some. And, you know, they won't be freshmen. They'll be sophomores.
They'll be
next
sophomores.
year.
That's right. All right. Let's say thanks again. We've got 3 or 4 minutes left. You know, it takes a lot of people to put the show on.
Well, first of all, you got to start out with God. You know, without faith and strength in Him, you know, nothing's going to be possible. And then you go with my family, my friends, the coaching staff, the trainers, and the players. You know, that group right there has been, you know, my main supporting staff, my main supporting group going into my first year and my second year. And then you got to include the band. You know, the band director is a classmate of mine, Larry Wade. And,
is he? Okay.
Yeah, he does a great job with the band, and he keeps our fans into the game, and he keeps it loud and going the way that it needs to be going. And you got to give it up to the drill team. I think Miss Saber Goder's done a great job with those young ladies.
Yeah.
And giving the performance that they give every halftime, making sure we keep our fans into the game. And then the cheerleaders, they do a great job on the sideline, making sure you know, they keep our guys pumped up and they keep the fans pumped up. And then you gotta go with your JT staff. You know, without the teachers, without the administrative staff that we have on campus, without the custodians, without the janitors, without the food service people, you know, John Tyler wouldn't even be able to run the way that it's being ran right now. And I appreciate how they support our kids, you know, our football team during the year, whether it's with signs and, you know, pats on the back or whatever it is. And then the fans. You know, my fans are my fans. You know, good, bad, or even, you know, they're going to be there.
JT has loud fans.
Most definitely. They're very loud and they're very opinionated.
I was going to say, you beat me to that
you
one.
know, they're going to say what they feel like they need to say. And like I tell people all the time, I'm going to listen, but at the same time, I'm still going to do what I need to do for this football team. And, you know, everybody's entitled to their own opinion, and I agree with that wholeheartedly. And I don't care how loud you say it. Some people are going to listen, some people not. And then last but not least, the 2014 class. You know, I would have liked to send them out with a state championship. Just like every year, you want to send your class out with a state championship. But they accomplished some great things. They have a great record throughout their 4 years here at John Tyler. So, you know, with that being said, I think, you know, we can put to bed the 2013 season, and now we're going to start working on the 2014 season.
By the way, as a John Tyler grad, to this day, I hear Big Bad John. That's still kind of
almost definitely.
That's just you know, there's lots of fight songs out there, and a lot of them sound alike at these high schools. But JT you guys have a unique.
Big Bad
John's. You hear, you know who's coming when you hear that song.
It's something totally different. That's right. And I can't wait till we can play that at Cowboy Stadium.
Doesn't it make the hair stand up on your arm when you hear that?
Most definitely. Most definitely.
So you got spring football will be coming up. Have you set dates on that? That'll be coming
up. I have not
set
the date on that right now.
After basketball season,
it'll be way after basketball season. It'll be probably around the time of the regional track meet. We'll actually start going into spring football.
All right, congratulations on a good season.
Appreciate it.
Again, the Lions didn't get as far as they wanted to, but again, you got to understand, this team had some really, really high moments this year. Came within a whisker of winning yet another district championship. Realignment is just around the corner. The district may look a little different next year, but the Lions will be back after a hard off season that Coach Holmes just promised that's just around the corner. The Lions finish up their 2013 season at 7-4 with a tough by-district loss. But again, the football season will be just around the corner for 2014, and we look forward to that. Thanks again to everybody involved with the program that make our job so much easier, and to the folks here at TIST TV. For Coach Holmes, I'm Bill Coates. Thanks for joining us.